happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I'm JJ Wang. He's the bearded one, DJ Dove. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
What is up, JJ Wang? Happy 4th of July week. Since we do post on Wednesdays, what we record a little earlier, it's been a good start to the week. Did you have a good 4th?
Wasn't too bad. Just set off some legal fireworks. Don't tell nobody.
We're not going to tell anybody, not the entire internet. You're totally fine.
But yeah, we had a good time. Spent some had some cookouts, ate a few hot dogs. You know how that goes on the 4th of July.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were kind of low key. We just got back from the beach, had a good beach week, and super tired. But we had some leftover legal fireworks that we bought at Walmart last year that have been sitting in our. But they actually, I'm shocked by some. I figured legal fireworks are like these little things were poofing stuff in the air. It was pretty money time.
Virginia's coming around. I mean, their fireworks are getting a little bigger. I mean, you can buy some more than sparklers now. No more sparklers than snakes.
Best $3 we ever had. So what can you do?
Lying. But speaking of hot dogs, I mean, the tradition of 4th of July, as we all remember, is one of the great American icons the last 20 years, Joey Chestnut, set another record yesterday, 76 hot dogs. So it's what, 14th championship in the last 15 years for this guy? It's absolutely amazing.
Oh, he is truly the GOAT. Tom Brady, move aside. Michael Jordan, move aside. Wayne Gretzky, you guys are nothing compared to Joey. Joey, I see him on TV. They play the music. I get the goosebumps.
Yeah, I mean, you see him walking up that stage with that mustard belt. It's something to see. But like this guy, it's the scene where he ate 32 Big Macs in 8 minutes, 141 hard-boiled eggs. I can eat like 2. And then 53 soft beef tacos from Taco Bell. That might be the most amazing one out of all of them, that he still survives that. That's amazing. But as you watch the hot dog eating contest, the biggest problem there is just ain't no competition for the guy. I mean, it's just the second closest guy had 50. That's 26 hot dogs is a lot to overcome.
And I think ESPN is starting to realize that, and that's why they had the lemonade chugging contest. I think they just wanted to have that one guy on the show because he's such a great rapper and he's a cool personality, and he just crushed this. Like, he was number one. There's no competition there. So
yeah, it's not.
Imagine in the long run they could add something else because they're like, yeah, we know Joey's just going to obliterate everybody for a while. Maybe they just get him pregnant, like they did on the women's side, just to make it a little closer. Is always been my joke. Cool story with Joey. I've actually seen Joey in person. That's how cool I am. We were down in North Carolina visiting my sister-in-law, and they were doing some qualifying tournaments, and it was actually Ronnie Hartman. He was the guy that won the tournament. Joey was just there holding the mustard belt, but Ronnie Hartman, he's been done it for a couple years. He's an ex-Marine, and he came on stage. He's transitioned to become a professional wrestler. He's jacked. He's the guy who has long blonde hair and the goatee. Nice. When we saw him, he was like short brown hair. My brother-in-law got to meet him, but it was his first son. So that's our claim to fame is I've seen him, like, he's transitioning into wrestling. So he's a big jack dude. He's doing stuff with I want to say Cody Rhodes. Nice. Helping him to transition into wrestling. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's become more popular over the years. It's not just that thing that your wives or girlfriends go, ew, they're eating a bunch of hot dogs, I want to vomit. Now, like, our whole family sits down and watches it. The kids get excited. We laugh at the commentary.
My daughter was excited for about the first 2 hot dogs. This is the first one she's seen. So she was excited for the first 2 hot dogs. And then she was like, started to get a little squeamish. She was like, how does he do that? I was like, he's an amazing guy. I mean,
ESPN helped it when they botched the entire program. So when everything went black and green and yellow and orange.
So you had that problem too, huh?
That was ESPN. That wasn't the cable. That was the total network botched the program as they got through. And you can look it up. My kids have gotten so into it. They watched Joey eat 18 pounds of pizza again on this YouTube channel they watch. And you saw him, he gained 26 pounds doing it. Like, his belly went from flat. Like, the dude exercises and gets in shape to do this. His belly went from flat to, like, it looked like he had a baby bump. But
so if you could pick a food to eat in a competition, what are you picking?
We were talking about this yesterday. What did I settle on? I liked that one where they talked about the one guy that had donut holes. or he's eating the donuts. I was like, I'm always curious. We were talking on our fantasy thread, like how many hot dogs could we really put down? My son goes, I could eat 12 in 10 hours, maybe. It's always a curiosity, like how far could you go? And then at what point are you willing to not throw up?
Yeah, like I would if I was to choose one, I'd probably go with the hot dog just because
Tradition.
that's what I've always wanted to see how many hot dogs I could eat, but I've never done it because like you just gotta feel so bad afterwards. It's just
Oh, the buns. Your nephew mentioned them. We were talking. He's like, the buns makes you kind of nauseous. Like that. That bothers me more than the hot dogs. Little soggy buns. And
yeah, that's going to be the hardest. You got to dip them in all that water. I mean, it's a sight to see. I'd like to see it live one time. It'd be pretty fun to see live.
I think we might have to do it sometime. We'll see what we go. Well, if we
Road
do,
show.
we'll talk about it on here after we recover and exercise a lot. But it is July, and we are talking about July in fantasy football really is like the dark month of football. There's guys are going home. They are responsible sort of for themselves during this month. There's this month there should be some talks because we have the whole Aaron Rodgers stuff going on, but in general, not a whole lot really goes on. Maybe some contract extensions, but guys go away and either you don't hear from them or they do something really stupid. I'm hoping for none of the really stupid stuff. I'm hoping to hear that Aaron Rodgers comes back. But we decided we're going to sit here and talk about guys that we think are our dark horses. We're going to each pick two guys that are higher up in the rankings in their respective positions that we think could do better than is shown in their rankings. You want to go first?
Yeah, so my first dark horse guy been around for quite a while. Had his ups and definitely had his ups and downs. A little older. It's David Johnson. He is 29 years old. He had almost 700 yards last year. He's definitely in control of the backfield there. They did bring in Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram. I'm not really worried about those guys at all. I mean, they'll get some run, but I'm not too overly worried. He's going to get the bulk of the passing work because that's just what David Johnson's always done. Most likely, have Tyrod at quarterback this year with Watson not coming off or coming back. So it's going to have problems at quarterback. So if you got that running back that he can drop the ball off to, hand off to a lot. So I'm looking maybe a top 20 running back for David Johnson if he can stay healthy. That's the key. If he can stay healthy.
Wow, that's where I am. We talked about this before recording, and Philip Lindsay. I'm a Philip Lindsay guy. I just Houston's going to be a mess, a giant mess. They could be worse than the Lions, and that's saying a lot. I mean, they lost J.J. Watt, so the defense is going to stink. Deshaun Watson, who knows? I could see him playing 16 games this year and then not playing anything next year. It depends upon how Goodell's feeling that day, what he's going to do. Then basically the only offensive weapon they have is Cooks and a bunch of old, aged, beaten up running backs. So it's going to be a battle of survival between him and Ingram and Lindsey and Dookie and whoever else they decide to play in there. It's ugh.
Like I say, if you're looking at a dark horse, you're somebody you don't expect that could do much. But like he's solid. He's like I said, if he can just stay healthy, get 175 carries, I mean, it's possible. He'd be the touchdown guy. I mean, he's definitely effective in the run game, definitely effective in the passing game. They don't have a lot of options. Like you said, the team isn't very good. So, I mean, that's going to play a role in it too.
And they will score one touchdown a game. So maybe two, maybe some kicks. You know, it's possible he gets
one receiving and one rushing for David Johnson every game. There you go.
Yeah.
Who are you looking at?
I'm looking at a receiver actually. One could be argued to be one of the greater receivers of the last decade. I mean, he did have a season with 129 receptions in 1698, 136 receptions, 1834, and then like a dope, he decided to get himself traded to the Raiders. And then he decided to just do a bunch of stupid stuff and then get himself traded to the Patriots, or to get cut and signed with the Patriots. And then He now has landed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers later last year. This man is Antonio Brown. I listened to a podcast where this guy goes, his name is Antonio. I want to like slap him every time he says it. But this is Antonio Brown. That's what he calls himself. I've heard it called. It's AB. AB to all of us diehard football fans. AB is in the perfect situation for where he is in his life. I mean, you're looking at a dude who is almost, let's see, what by the time this is aired, he will be almost 33 years old. So he's at the end of his football career, but he had essentially a year off, and in his early years he didn't do anything stellar, so he wasn't hit a lot. He was, he didn't have 100 receptions until his fourth year, so he had to survive Mike Wallace to get there, and then he became the man because Mike Wallace wanted more money, when another dope who messed up his career going to Miami. But AB's in the perfect situation. Number one, Tom Brady loves Antonio Brown. No matter what, Tom Brady is the reason Antonio Brown went to New England. Tom Brady is the reason Antonio Brown came to Tampa. Tom Brady let Antonio Brown live with him. So that you cannot beat the connection of having the GOAT want you on your side. Antonio Brown's targets last year, he played from week 9 on. He started with 5 targets, 8 targets, 13 targets, and that was against the Rams. Or it's the Rams or the Raiders? Yeah, it was the Rams, because they were in Las Vegas. 3 targets. He had a rough one against Kansas City. Then 5 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets, and in the last week he had 15 targets. I mean, far be it there. Between Godwin was hurt, he came back, but AB has the trust of the GOAT. AB last year in that limited time as the number 3 had almost 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. I see getting back into game shape a whole season off. AB right now is going at, according to Fantasy Pros, you got AB going, I want to say 40, 45. So he's around the likes of Parker, Gallup, Hollywood, Cole Beasley, Hilton, Mike Williams, and then a couple young guys I really like, though, and Chenault, Pittman, and Waddle. But he's fallen in the 45 range, and for a dude that could just kill it, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. To be completely honest, it wouldn't surprise me a whole bunch if Antonio Brown actually led the team in targets, because Tom Brady likes him that much. He's not going to take away targets from Mike Evans. He's the deep guy. We know what Mike Evans is going to do. He's going to get his 1,000 yards like he does every year. The person who it hurts the most is Chris Godwin, because they essentially play that same position. And I just think Tom Brady likes Antonio Brown more than he likes Chris Godwin. So like I said, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he leads the team in targets, probably maybe yards even. I mean, I think he's still got that skill there. So, I mean, that's a great choice. I mean, he definitely end up wide receiver 2. High-end wide receiver too. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yep. I think I stole your thunder as you head into your next guy, but we're in the same range, I think.
Yeah, my next guy is a young guy, rookie last year, plays for the Colts. Michael Pittman, 23 years old, big receiver. It's 6'4", 225, I believe. Definitely looks like that alpha guy. I think on this team, he'll be more of that big possession guy, a touchdown threat, kind of in the mold of maybe, let's say, Alshon Jeffrey. You know how much Carson Wentz liked Alshon Jeffrey in that in his rookie year or that second year where he blew up. Jeffrey was super effective. So doesn't have a lot of people to actually work against. I mean, we still got T.Y. Hilton. So he's getting older. Still effective. He's got that deep ball. Pascal, he was effective when his time playing. Then we got maybe Paris Campbell comes back. Hopefully, people had high expectations come from him. But looking at those receivers, I mean, obviously Pittman is that number 1 guy. Now they will run the ball a lot. But I think there's enough to go around with not a lot of great wide receivers. Pittman being big, physical. Definitely going to get the targets, get those red zone. I mean, looking at a mid-range, high-range wide receiver too, I think.
Yeah, I'm a huge Pittman guy. I'm with you. He did what people do in college. He got better. He ended up with, us just looked him up, 100 catches and almost 1,300 yards his senior year. Last year he was a little slow out the gate. What do you think the effect of? My prediction is Zach Ertz plays for the Colts. Well, how will Zach Ertz affect him?
Um, so they might maybe a little. I mean, they're both play that possession guy. We all know how much Carson Wentz does like Zach Ertz, but Zach Ertz is getting older. At the end of the day, I think Pittman will find his role, realize that he is the alpha on that team, and it might actually help open up that range of the field a little bit for Pittman because you're going to have to bring a little bit of coverage off to get coverage on Zach Ertz. So it's the opportunities there. Depending on if Carson Wentz can get back in form, produce a little better on offense, and think it's wide open for him this year.
Oh, I'm a Wentz guy. I like Frank Reich. I think he's going to get him back on track, and he's got to throw to him. Naheem Hines cannot be the number one receiver in Indianapolis if they want to not lose every game.
Yeah, it's like I think Justin Jefferson kind of ruined it for all wide receivers last year by putting up 1,400 yards. That's not normal. That's very rare. Actually, it's one of the best rookie season of all time. So these rookie wide receivers usually hang around that 5, 6, 700 yard range, just like Jerry Jeudy was. Takes him a while to get implemented into the system, and I think he's got. I think he's big enough. I think he's got the talent. I think he's on the right track. So who's your
Nice.
next guy?
I pride myself in the love of the tight end. And that's why I'm in two tight end premium leagues. I've always been the tight end whisperer. My problem is I'll be right about them and then I'll be tired because I do too much dynasty. Like, okay, I don't want to hold this Kelsey guy. They say he's going to be the next Gronk. They called him Baby Gronk. We're a couple years in. This is ridiculous. I'm going to trade him for a sack of potatoes. And my buddy's team has been really good ever since. Oops.
Yeah.
This guy that I'm pulling up, 6'3", 240, was buried, or sort of buried at times on the Los Angeles Rams. My boy is Gerald Everett of now the Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be his age 27 season, and he's got Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's a little bit better than Jared Goff, not a lot, but just a little bit. To anybody who's never heard of football, that's called sarcasm. Last year, the tight end position in Seattle had 73 receptions. Gone is Greg Olson. He went where he should have been last year, which is in the booth. Will Dissly, I was a big Will Dissly guy. He had about 4 of the greatest tight end games ever, and then he just tore everything, and he just has not been the same coming back. Jacob Hollister is now in Buffalo. So you were Buffalo, right? Yeah, I think Buffalo.
Yeah, I think so.
So you are now down to Will Dissly and Gerald Everett. I think Gerald Everett takes this by the horns for a couple reasons. Like Pete Carroll is in love with Gerald Everett. Pete Carroll wants Gerald Everett to be the man. Gerald Everett isn't like that prime tight end age. Gerald Everett has Russell Wilson. That's really all. For me, it's an easy cut and dry because it is tight end. So really, if you don't have the top 5, they're all dark horses. Maybe the top 4. Gerald Everett right now in Fantasy Pros is number 21. Let me say it again. 21 for Russell Wilson's number 1 target. Tight ends going around him are Austin Hooper, who I don't even know if they throw him the ball up there in Cleveland. Ertz, mainly because they don't know where he's going to play and he's been hurt. Ebron, because tight ends in Pittsburgh go to die. And Jared Cook, who I think could be better than he is there, but he's old too. So at 21, Everett, I foresee top 10. I might even be able to plant my flag at a top 8 finish for that dude.
Yeah, I think top 10 is definitely attainable. He'll be the third receiving option on that team behind Metcalf and Lockett. They're going to take the top off the field. So I mean, they're going to be deep. The middle of that field is going to be wide open. That's where Gerald Everett can succeed. Athletic dude. I think he was drafted in the 2nd round, I believe, somewhere. He was drafted pretty high, I'm pretty sure. So coming out of school, the talent was there. Like I said, they don't have to worry about a running back catching the ball. They don't have a lot of that. Russell Wilson likes to scramble. People get open. That's the best part of that offense. They let Russ cook. I mean, it's going to be great. It's great for everybody. Like I said, Pete Carroll, I still think wants to run the ball 600 times if he can. So, I mean, they don't have a lot of options at running back.
Yeah,
Chris
the options are
Carson,
dwindling.
but Chris Carson, if he can stay healthy, he's going to get he's going to get a ton of work. So he's got a lot of upside there. So, like I said, there's not a lot of options for him to compete against. So, I mean, like he's definitely going to get the opportunity there. So I think top 10 is definitely attainable in that offense.
Yeah, it's entirely locked. It depends which week it is, and I think if you run a lot and you have a good tight end, the tight end really will benefit because Russ is smart enough to go, hey, look, there's 9 guys coming right towards me and Chris Carson, and Gerald Everett just snuck right by them. So boom, Everett's going to sneak in. He'll get some touchdowns. I mean, he's coming off back-to-back 400-yard seasons, the lowest. And last year he had 41 receptions, and his rookie year he had 16, but otherwise it's been 33, 37, 41. It's pretty stout to go in. So you got this. You're excited for this next segment, I know. So I'm gonna let you get us into that one.
So this next segment that I want to do is so there's a lot of teams with multiple running backs that don't have that one true guy, right? So they're just all over the place. I think we've come up with like 7 or 8 teams. So we're going to do one now. I think is probably the best out of that bunch to talk about. Maybe we're going to do battle of the backfields. And that first backfield that we're going to talk about is the San Francisco backfield. So we've got Raheem Mostert, we've got Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, and your boy Jeff Wilson when he comes back.
Wayne Gallman, JaMychal Hasty.
Playing those two. So we got a whole bunch of things to unlock here, trying to figure out who's going to be that number one guy. So we'll jump into, so obviously the number one guy as of right now is Raheem Mostert. You're a fan of him. I know that. I'm more of a fan of Trey Sermon. I'm a rookie guy, so we'll see how that goes. Mostert is always effective when he runs. We know that. It's obvious. Dude is fast as lightning. Definitely got the speed. But his biggest issue, just like a lot of these other guys, is staying healthy. Just like in that whole entire team is health. But like if Mostert stays healthy, he'll probably most likely be the guy. But I definitely see Trey Sermon getting involved a whole lot on that team.
When I did my notes here, I have Raheem Mostert as the horse. He is going to be the workhorse. I think the 49ers see Father Time is catching up. Mostert doesn't have a lot of mileage, a lot of tread on him, but he has a lot of injuries growing with him. I was listening to an interview talking about Raheem Mostert with one of my favorite players on their team, Mr. Kyle Juszczyk. And he was talking about how the offseason Raheem Mostert is killing it. He is looking like a beast. And if the guy that's blocking you is ready for you, and he said, let's see, what does he have here? I think Mostert's really going to surprise people. And I know it's been a few years since the Niners have had one of those top fantasy guys that you're going to take in your first 1, 2, 3 rounds. But he said he was looking at the end of the year. He said at the end of last season, we came back and was healthy. We generally thought we had 6 games left that we would still get him 1,000 yards just based upon how hard he was running earlier, the catches he got. He is the fastest guy on the team. Most people miss that. They think, oh, Raheem Mostert, he is the starting running back. He is some like plotter that goes through. And we just think that because he's hurt, more so than because he is a slow guy. But that dude is stinking fast. Trey Sermon, he's no slouch, though. I'm with you. I have some love for Trey Sermon. I'm looking at him everywhere I can grab him, but I see him as the future. He is I see this year they're gonna wear out Mostert. They're gonna break Mostert. They're gonna use every last drop of gas left in Mostert, and then they're gonna hand the ball to Sermon. Sermon, he'll get 10 touches a game. Mostert probably 15 to 20, depending upon game script. 15 is where I feel Mostert. 17 is in my head for some reason, including catches and things. But I think the future is Trey Sermon. A comp that made me fall in love with Trey Sermon was Le'Veon Bell. Someone said he has the patience of Le'Veon Bell around the line there, the way he'll look as opposed to just bolting into the hole. He'll like stop there, give it a look. The thing is, we're in love with the dude without a lot of with college pedigree is what I mean.
Yeah.
You look at his Ohio State career, and we like the dude based upon a whopping never eclipsing 1,000 yards. Last year he had 870, and if you look at it, I mean, last year was his only year at Ohio State. 3 years in Oklahoma, he was there getting yards up and down, and Ohio State, it was towards the end of the year. So it's one of those. If I go with the argument that I always have with a lot of players, no college production, what are they going to do in the pros? Who knows? Then it might not bode as well for Sermon, but they did use their first draft pick, and they moved up in the third rather because it took
Yeah.
Trey Lance, obviously, but they moved up to get Trey Sermon. So they like the dude, they like what they see, but he could fall upon Brandon Jacobs' world, where Jacobs is a good running back, but he still wasn't that, not a lot of wear and tear coming in like a lot of other backs. That's why I don't know. I have this. It's more of a gut feeling than anything else. I have Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell. I have a feeling about that dude.
Yeah, I like Mitchell. I mean, they got him late. He's had a solid college career. He can catch the ball coming out of the backfield, which is what that offense is based upon. You give Kyle Shanahan all those weapons to work with. I mean, he's going to make everybody relevant. But like I said, he's just got to have to get that opportunity. Mostert's going to have to go down before Mitchell really probably finds his role. Now, will Mostert go down? Who knows? He is older. It happens. Seems to happen every year. But as long as Mostert stays healthy, yeah, you're right. He will get the bulk of the work. 15 touches might be a lot. They may run the 12 range. And I think Sermon's going to get 10 to 12 touches as well. I think they're both going to be in that same range. They're both going to get used. But who's that goal line back? I think Trey Sermon will be used more as the goal line back until Wilson comes back, because we all know he steals all the touchdowns. So I'm not. He's probably going to be out the first 6 or 7 weeks. So it's going to give Trey Sermon an opportunity to shine. And once he does come in and shine, I don't see how you're going to be able to take him off the field at that point.
Can he pass protect? We don't know.
Who knows? I mean, honestly, in college, from what I gather, they don't ask these guys to pass protect a lot in college. So most of them have no idea how to pass protect.
And that's why
when they come in, go through the OTAs, that's where they're going to get with these coaches that can teach them how to do all this stuff. I think pass blocking can be taught easier than being a great athlete, because you can't teach that. So, I mean, if he's got the running skills, he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. I think the opportunity is there for him to take over, probably not in the beginning of the season, but maybe towards the later of the season. As long as everybody stays healthy, the 49ers are going to be in the playoff hunt. Their team is good.
I don't see certain. It's always health, and you can't predict injuries. Mostert, if I were to say perfect world, Mostert is the lead back all year. Sermon's getting his. Mitchell doesn't see a lot this year. He'll get some passes here and there because he's going to be the Mostert successor. To him and Sermon are the future. But then again, you got Jeff Wilson there. My notes for Jeff Wilson are sneaky, annoying, injury screwed him, and he could screw us all.
Yeah.
I had a championship last year that I lost because Mostert scored 3 touchdowns and Kamara scored 6. That tends to do it in for you. Then you got Dwayne Gallman and Hasty, and I heard someone trying to talk up Gallman the other day, and I just said, yeah, sure. And
I'm not too worried about Gallman. I mean, he did fine with the Giants last year, I believe. He did fine, but there wasn't anybody else that he was competing with. It was just Wayne Gallman. Like, now he's the 4th running back on the roster, so it's probably not going to get a lot of runs. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm definitely interested. I'm definitely keeping up with the 49ers this year. I'm a huge fan of Kyle Shanahan. That's our battle in the backfield segment right there. So to keep in theme with our 4th of July segment that we started out with, we got these fireworks exploding. We decided to find a guy that we think is just going to show off this year. That's whether they were good last year, maybe they'll be even better this year. That's where we're going to go right now. Who's your guy?
My guy is a guy I've been trying to get everywhere, and I finally got him. He is 6'1", 190, Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley. He's a little older than most people think. He'll be playing his age 26 year, believe it or not.
The same age as Amari Cooper.
Yeah, so first round pick in the 18 draft. So he's got 3 years in, and last year he balled out to the tune of 90 receptions and 1374 and 9 touchdowns. I mean, he's been a consistent touchdown receiver for years, 10, 7, and 9. And now that pesky Julio Jones is out of the way, and all he's got is Kyle Pitts, the second coming of the greatest player in the world, because tight ends
That's
in their
right.
rookie year tend to score so many points and catch so many balls, except for nobody. So who else is Matty Ice is still slinging the ball. Mike Davis is gonna get his for a second tier sneaky running back. And I got Russell Gage on there. He came on strong at the end of the year, but Calvin Ridley is gonna ball out this year. Calvin Ridley, do I see him eclipsing last year? Not necessarily last year. I think it's close to the baseline. He might get a couple more touchdowns. I think he'll get more receptions and the yardage will be comparable. So I could see him, let's give him 100 receptions. That's just around about 1450 and 10 touchdowns for a year. And he's going to ball out.
Yeah, I mean that's a big old passing off. They do got a new coach that does like to run the ball, so that's where the Mike Davis thing come in. But you still got Matt Ryan. They're still going to throw the ball all over the place. That's just what Matt Ryan does. It's what he's always done. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Calvin Ridley actually led the league in targets. I mean, wouldn't surprise me. Who else are they going to throw it to? They don't have a lot of options. I mean, Gage will get some. Kyle Pitts is definitely going to get the opportunity. He's going to be on the field from day one, and that's just a big target to go to. But Calvin Ridley is a great route runner. He's a great receiver. Obviously, Matt Ryan likes him. Even with Julio there last year, he killed it. So, like I said, lead the league in targets wouldn't surprise me. 125 receptions, maybe 1,400 yards, 1,500 yards. I think that the ceiling's crazy. So, yeah, so I can definitely see an explosion there, being even better than he was last year. Definitely top three wide receiver, maybe.
His ceiling is one. I think his floor is 10. I would say his floor isn't even 10. Like, I think he's going to be that good. Like, I'm that high.
Well, yeah, especially with him being the lead guy in town. So jumping over to my guy here, he is a Redskin. I'm not a huge Redskin fan.
The what?
Oh, the Washington football team. My bad. It's hard to get away from.
You're so old.
Not a big Washington football team fan, but this is my guy. It's Antonio Gibson. Of course, coming out of college, I think he had 80 career touches, so nobody really knew what to expect. Switched him over to running back, and the dude killed it last year. I think he had 11 touchdowns, almost 800 yards rushing, 250 yards receiving. So he was definitely good. Before he got injured, he was on pace to be a top 10 running back. The only issue last year was J.D. McKissick still in all of his receiving thunder. I don't think that's going to happen this year. They'll roll him back. They'll get more usage out of Antonio Gibson. So better quarterback. So much better offense. So he definitely going to get more carries, 225 maybe. That would be great. So we're looking at maybe 1,100 yards, 1,200 yards rushing possibly. Still keep that double-digit touchdown. 500 yards receiving. Is that possible? So, I mean, we're looking at 1,600 total yards, 12, 13 touchdowns. I mean, that's definitely top 5 running back potential there. I mean, I think he could be better than Kamara this year, working his way up the ladder. So, I mean, we'll see. It just depends on how the offense goes.
Wow, that was a bold statement there. Just bold statement up. So, like, better than Kamara. I'm not with you on that one. Surprisingly, I didn't think about it. Like, no one really knows it because McKissick just balled out last year. Gibson still had 36 receptions.
Yeah.
And for a running back, that's pretty average. That's a good running back in fantasy. So yeah, I'm all with you on his rushing stats. I think he's going to get up there. the thing that won't get me, I don't think the receiving is going to be outlandish this year. Fitzpatrick likes to sling it. He's not gonna. He's no Alex Smith. He's not gonna drop it over the line right there. McKissick's probably gonna be the one that's hurt the most. Do I think? Do I think that Gibson here could do 36, 40, 45 catches? Sure. That's 2, 3 a couple of game, especially with the extra game this year. I don't think he's going to go ballistic on receiving. I think McKissick's going to stink, but Gibson, I have him. He could easily be a top 10 running back without a shadow of a doubt. I probably have him more of the 5 to 10 range. I'm not going crazy like you are, but I sure hope he is because I just spent a whole lot of draft capital in our startup to pick up Antonio Gibson. So it's uh, the realm of possibility is there for him to totally firework it on us. So tell you what, it's been a great 4th of July week here. We sent some fireworks up. Now we got to see if they explode or if they just sort of peter out.
It could be duds. You never know. That's the great thing about fireworks. You just never know what's going to come, man. Most of the time they work out though. So
Yeah, so get us out of here, JJ Wang.
yeah, so I hope everybody had a great holiday. Remember, trust in yourself and trust the process.